Hello, welcome to the stock session for today. Today is Friday, August the 5th. Just going to put the disclaimers on the top left-hand side. Please read them. It basically gives you an idea of what you can understand or what you can expect from these types of videos. In a nutshell, these are demonstrational videos to show you how we apply our methodology and how we use our apps. Ultimately, it's up to you as individual traders to decide what to do. Does this fit your risk tolerance and your trade plan or not? If so, to what level? What do you do about it? Ultimately, that's your choice. But hopefully these videos give you an idea of how things could be done for you to learn from and go from there. Now, in terms of learning, and if you have any questions, let me just show you where you can go for different resources, help and support. So you've got my email address here, which is becky@tradective.com. So you've got that. You can also see a link on the screen, which is tradewithufos.com/Becky. So that will take you to, if I bring this up, there it is. That will take you here. Now from here, you can check out apps and courses and general coaching or group coaching. You can book one-on-one coaching if you'd like. You can check out our live trading schedule and log into different areas depending on what you have. You can scroll down, and we'll use this today. You can track the trades that I'm placing in my sessions, stocks, Forex and cryptocurrencies. If you scroll down, you can look at more to do with the apps on different platforms. You can look at our platform, top, and there's a question and answer section here as well that, as you can see, there are loads of questions and 3 pages worth. So you can come and find answers to your questions that's already here, or you can post your own one for free and we will answer. So lots of help and resources from this one link, or you can email me. So lots of places to go, lots of support available. Okay, so we're here to look at some stocks. Now, in terms of our previous stock session, in fact, let's actually go here. So we used to spend a little bit more time going back through and going through what happened to those trades and did they win or lose and why. We've now got this section here where I go through and update it and fill it all in. So you can see the date that we placed the trade, obviously from last time. We'll check out those first 2 actually. We've got quite a few trades that we put on last time. A lot of them already triggered. What happened, we can see. We've got a few small losses there, a full loss, a small profit. And we can read in the notes here what happened. So for example, trade triggered whilst the auto climate was down, EMA was still lining up, so we didn't cancel the trade. On the 1st of August, the auto climate changed to unconfirmed, so the trade was closed early whilst within the UFO. That means that we got out at a slightly higher price than we got in at, and therefore we, in this case, because it was a short, lost that difference. And you can see a lot of them are very similar. We've had a lot of auto climates changing in those last couple of weeks, but you'll notice obviously all of the numbers are different, so you can track what's happened there. Okay, so with that aside, let's now look at some new trading opportunities. Let's now just first be aware that we've got news coming out next Wednesday in the morning and Friday in the morning that might create volatility in US markets. Be aware of that. You might choose to cancel your trades before Wednesday, put them back on after the news has come out and prices already moved around a bit. You might choose to just keep it on and not care at all. You might choose to just reduce your risk a little bit on those days. Up to you, but be aware of it. This is what we've got coming up. So let's look at some new opportunities. So we'll go to top to do this. And let's first look, so the ES, that is the continuous futures contract of the S&P 500, which is an index of the top 500 US stocks. If this is the first time you've ever watched anything to do with trading or stocks, it's basically a representation of the US stock market, okay? So as far as that is concerned, then we have, I'm squishing this out a little bit here, we have a thin blue dot on the weekly chart of the ES, telling us that as far as the weekly time frame is concerned, the market is currently undecided, unconfirmed. If it's a thick blue dot, that would be probability up, but it's a thin blue dot, so it tells us not enough probability in either direction, unconfirmed. So in that case, what we'll look at is we'll look at perhaps we'll look at specific stocks that have probability up and down, see how big those lists are. Now, the reason we look at the ES first, and you don't actually have to do this, is that let's say the market as a whole has probability up. Well, then if we look at individual stocks that have probability up, that live within that whole, it's got an extra correlation point with it. The correlation is not the reason we place the trade. It's not even necessarily one of the reasons why we place the trade. It's just nice to start where we've got a little bit greater probability. It doesn't have to be that way. So what we'll do is we're going to come to our matrix on top, and we're going to scan for different probabilities, different trades. So let's just make this a little bit bigger. We've got our different criteria in. So I'm going to just put in, I want all stock symbols. I want US stocks and ETFs. So that's both of those. Again, all should be all groups. Yeah, okay, we'll just put all there so we can be looking at, I think, stocks in that. Yeah, brilliant. Sorry. So I'm looking at all sectors and groups, stocks and ETFs, all US exchanges. We're looking at stocks with a price range between $5 and $150. Of course, we could take that top number off and we could be looking at stocks that are thousands of dollars per share. The reason I don't do that is just because I think most people are not necessarily going to have tens of thousands of dollars in order to place a couple of trades if you want to be putting different risk on. Sorry, if you want to have two different targets and therefore you're putting half the risk on one, half the risk on the other, you need twice as many shares to be able to do that. So if you're trading just one share, fine, maybe some people do that. But if you need to be trading 2, 4, 6, 10 shares, then that's multiple tens of thousands of pounds of dollars in order to place trades, which for me, great, but for most people watching, it's obviously not going to be helpful. So let's have a look. So 5 and 150, that's the range that we're looking at. Of course, you can look above that if you want to be trading. I personally don't trade stocks that are worth more than $150, but you could be looking at stocks that are many thousands if you'd like to, but I'm not going to. Minimum average volume of 300,000, that's what we're looking at here. Now, our additional filters, we want to make sure that we are looking at, we're going to ignore most of these. I want to exclude any stocks that have earnings in the next 3 days. That's because if they've got earnings coming out in the next 3 days, then might see a little bit extra volatility. In fact, I might put 5 days here. A little bit extra volatility that will come out around earnings, that increases our risk. So I'm going to ignore those. I'd rather be in the trade for a little longer before I'm exposing myself to that kind of volatility. And we're going to check, for the time being, we'll look at auto climate weekly confirmed up trades that are sensible, meaning towards the start of that move up and near to our ideal trading price. So putting in all of that criteria, we actually end up with quite a big list. So we might be looking at long opportunities here. Now, what we might do, just to maybe make this a smaller list, is maybe exclude earnings in the next 10 days and see if that reduces it. Doesn't really seem to have done much. Okay, great. We will do it. We'll go one by one, look at each of these markets. We're looking at probability upwards. Again, you could equally look at probability downwards, but we'll look at probability up for now. See, the daily charts are confirming themselves to the upside on the US market. So let's see the ones that are maybe already ahead of the game and are confirmed up on the weekly. Okay, so I'm just squishing here to see if we've got any sellers. We don't. Okay, so I will explain this first trade in more depth. And then once we've got that and we've got the basis of the methodology and what we're doing, I'll be much quicker then with what we're doing from there. So we have a thick blue dot on our auto climate. That's that app at the bottom here. It's a free app on most platforms you can use it on. And it tells us where the probabilities lie. If it's a thick blue dot, that's probability up. So we have probability upwards. We are also nicely within the sustainability stats. This market would usually go up for 5 candles. This is candle number 1, meaning quite early on in what would be a usual movement to the upside, hopefully. Now we have buyers beneath us, reasonably close, not too close, and we don't have any sellers above us. So far, lots of things going in the right direction in terms of probability up. Now, saying that, we want to find, I think we're on a weekly there. Yeah, brilliant. We want to find green UFOs on the right-hand side that line up with the EMA price on the left-hand side. So let me break this down. The left-hand side represents the style of trader we are. I'm using a weekly chart here, so we're looking at longer term swing trading or position trading when it comes to stocks. Personally, don't think shorter term swing trading stocks is a good idea because of the gaps that we see on a daily basis in the stock market. So we want either to be out by the end of the day or be holding them for longer periods of time, weeks to months perhaps, so that those daily gaps don't affect us as much. Hence using weekly on the left-hand side. So weekly is what is helping us to define our style of trader. The weekly is telling us probability up. That's why we look for buying opportunities. Now we could just buy off of the weekly chart, but we want to have a slightly tighter risk so that we have a greater opportunity for risk to reward or reward to risk. This is why we use a smaller time frame on the right-hand side to be more specific with our entries. Now I'm going to cycle through 4 different time frames on the right-hand side to see if we find something lining up. If we don't, we move on to another opportunity or another trade. If we do, then we place the trade. So that's how we'll do things. Now, the right-hand side, this is where we're looking for green UFOs. Because we're looking to buy, we're looking for green ones. We were looking to sell, we'd look for red ones. Now there's different ones. If I squish this, you'll see there's many different green UFOs. Now we want to know that we are trading the one that's got the highest probability. That's why we bring in the EMA from the left-hand side. Why do we do that? Because if price is above the EMA, which it is now, and comes down to reach it, people buy. So there will be buyers coming in at that price. If that's also happening at the same time where we see buyers, which is what the UFO is showing us, where we see buyers on a different time frame, then we've got buyers and buyers in the context of buying, in context of probability up. So if we can get buyers and buyers and buyers all together, we increase our probabilities of being right. If we only have 2 of those things, as far as we're concerned, not enough. We need all 3. Okay, so let's have a look. The EMA price is 89.97, which is around about here. Not lining up with this UFO, and I don't think close enough to line up in time as price moves. So let's have a look at different time frames and see what we've got. I'm going to cycle through quickly here and see. No, quite far out. So I'm looking at the 144, the 1 day, the 2 day, and the 3 day. And in none of those time frames do we have a UFO on the right hand side that coincides with this number, 89.96, which is the EMA price. So we move on to a new opportunity. Now that I've explained that once, I'm going to move a little bit quicker in seeing what we're doing here. It'd be great to get a trade on this one based on the fact that we're within buyers right now. So let's have a look. Just waiting for it to load here. So the EMA is 7.51. Could use this one, but we won't because this number is not big enough. This percentage number in the top right hand side shows us essentially the probability rating. It tells us the percentage of the time that price moves between buy and sell orders on that time frame on that market. We want it to be a minimum of 50%. So it's not 50%, so we're not using it. This one is, but the UFO isn't lining up. No UFO there. And no UFO there. So unfortunately, nothing lined up on this one. Next one down, AstraZeneca with our vaccines. Let's have a look. 65.78. Should be okay. Let's have a look. Okay, nothing around there. Again, we're looking at this in real time, right? So we're just going to go through and see. Last time we had a bunch of opportunities back to back, but sometimes that doesn't work out that way. So 5, 10, $5.10 is the EMA price, which is just above this UFO. Oh no, it's within that UFO. Brilliant. Okay, great. So it's within that one. So on the 144, we might have an opportunity. Let's have a look at the daily. Much better stats on this one. So we might take it on the daily. 2-day, 3-day. So far the daily is the one with the highest stats. That's one we'll take. Very objective. So we want to be... Okay, unfortunately, on the daily, it's got a much higher probability rate, but we're going to have to lump all of these together because we've got buyer after buyer after buyer after buyer. And we don't want to be having a sell order in amongst those. Now, if we just bring up a calculator real quick. So if our entry was 5.27, our stop loss would be 4.22. So I'm taking this bottom number, 4.32, and I'm subtracting 10 cents. That takes us to $1.05. Now we need enough room on top of where we get in to take it to its closest sellers. Its closest sellers are 7.87. So if our first target is 1-to-1 away, we need that to be before 7.87. So let's check that. 6.32. So we do have enough room. Let's place this trade. So let me bring the sheet that we use to fill in. So again, you can see how these things are filled in. It's August 5th, 2022. Don't know why it needs to be bolded. It's BHR, Ashford Hospitality Prime. 1 week and 1 day long. 5.27 through to 4.22. Our safety target's been worked out for us, 6.32. Our final target will be 7.87. Overall risk reward of 2.48. So, okay, let's now have a look at TradingView. And this is where we'll place the trade. So we are looking at BHR. Oh yeah, same price. Okay. Didn't seem to be the same company, but Hotels and Resorts, I guess, is Hospitality Prime. Hotels and Resorts make sense with the HR. So I guess it is the same. 5.34 is the current price there. 5. Yeah, it's just moved. Okay, brilliant. So we are looking at the right stock. 1 day there on the right. So I know the Fibonacci numbers are meant to be used in a different way. I use them as a drawing tool. Now, if you use Fibonacci for what they're intended to be, then I'm sorry if I'm not using them the way you'd like me to. I do use them as a drawing tool, but you could also use Fibonacci on top of this, right? And add probability in. So 6.32 is the first target. And 7.87 is the second. Brilliant. Okay, now let's place this trade. Bring up the order panel. I much prefer to place these trades on TradingView. I find it much easier to use. It does a lot of the maths for you, which is nice. I keep saying that. For some reason, TradingView has not been my friend recently. It doesn't respond to how I click things. It's very annoying, but it's fine. I still love you, TradingView. Okay, so 6.32, that's worked out. I'm going to put in a risk of $50. I only do that because $100 obviously is a nice round number. I can split it in half and show you an example of using half of your desired risk on one half of the trade, half of your desired risk on the other. If you want to risk, I don't know, $2.10 a share each, you can do that. If you want to risk $1,000 on each, great, do that. If you want to risk $1 million on each, great, do that. Up to you. I'm just showing you an example as to what we do. Okay, so same entry, same stop loss, same risk. I'm just changing the target there. There we go. So the trade's gone in. I'm just going to put a little note. So placed on the 5th of August 2022, 1 week, 1 day. Brilliant. And now we're just going to come back to top. And we are going to keep going. Now, what I think we might do is just increase this to $15 to reduce our symbol list. Otherwise, we won't get through them all. And we'll go from here. So BSM, Blackstone Materials. Okay, let's have a look. So the EMA is 14.7. So let's have a look. Nope, nowhere near. CC is the next one that we're looking at. So the EMA is 34.31. All I'm doing, and if you watch this back, you can obviously pause it and see from there. I'm just quickly filtering through on the right hand side to see if I can find UFOs that line up. And if they don't, I'll just quickly move to the next time frame. All I'm doing is I'm taking this and saying 67.15 is the EMA. Do I see a UFO that coincides with that on the right hand side? And if the answer is no, I look at the next time frame. If I've looked at 4 time frames and I still can't find it, then I'll look at another one. We had a short position on this trade last week and it stopped out because the climate moved up and it's now got probability upwards. So it'd be nice to maybe catch this to the upside. EPD, so 25.63. Let's have a look. Close, but not close enough. Let's go back to that 2-day, 25.63. No, it's not close enough, unfortunately. GPK, 21.31. So not close enough there. Let's have a look. 1 day, 144. 3-day, nope. What are we on? GPK, HRL. Within buyers on the weekly, which is great. So we'd like to see more on the right hand side as well. So 48.14. Okay, so in this case, let's have a look. In this case, the EMA is at 48.14. The UFO starts at 48.08, so it's 6 cents away. Now, current price is at 48.42, which is 35 now, 48.43. 35, I'm not very good at maths. 35, I think. Yeah, 35 cents away, whereas the EMA is only 6 cents away. So the question is, if price moves by 35 cents, will the EMA move by 6 cents? Now, I would say that's likely, considering EMA stands for exponential moving average. So if price moves, so too will the EMA. So considering that price would have to move 30 odd cents to reach our entry, the EMA's only got to move 6 cents. I think this is likely to work out. Now you can put alerts on so that you can be more sure on this if you'd prefer. But I'm going to place this trade. So this is HRL. We've got no sellers above us that we can see. So we're going to have a trailing stop for the second one. So let's bring this in and make a quick note. Same again, August 5th, 2022. Weirdly bold. This was HRL, 1 week and 144. This was long, 48.08 to 47.33, minus 10 cents. So our safety target will be 48.83. Our final target in this case will be trailing. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. So let's bring up trading view. Okay, so HRL. Okay. It's a 144 on the right. So it was 48.08 through to 47.33. Safety target was 48.83. Oh, 48.83. Lovely. And then I'll show you what we do with a trailing stop. So 48.08. I don't know why. I don't even know where that's gone now to have placed that order to even be able to delete it. Good job I'm using a paper trading for the examples that we use. Okay, so 48.08 to 43.33. Like I said, sometimes I'm probably just me being stupid, but I'm finding that I'll type something in and it doesn't type over on TradingView at the moment. Don't know why. Okay, so same thing, risk of $50, and we will put that in. So we've got our target already figured out. So entry is the same, stop loss is the same, risk is the same. We just don't tick take profit. That way we have a trailing profit. Meaning, let's say price comes in, triggers our trade, starts to move away in our favor, and a new green UFO is formed. Then we'll move our stop from behind this one to behind the new green UFO. We'll just keep doing that as we lock profits in. So placed 5th August 2022, 1 week, 1:44 minute, and T2 was trading, just to give us a reference there. Okay, let's come back to top and find a new probability. Okay, so HST is the next one. Another hotels and resorts. We've seen a spike in this one recently. So let's see. So the EMA is 17.35 or 17.36. Okay. So nothing on there. Let's double check that again. It was 17.35. No, unfortunately, it's between these two UFOs and not close enough to either of them. So next one down, Nordstrom. 23.19. Nope. Kite Realty Group. 19.04. Might be able to do this on the 3-day. Because again, in this case, the EMA is only 3 cents above the UFO. And price would have to move 54 cents in order to come into the UFO. So very likely to line up. But let's check the 2-day. So the 3-day had 55% up here. So I'm going to check the 2-day. That's 58%. So far that's winning. Same type of UFO. 48% not enough. And that's 57%. So 2-day wins, and that's what we'll do. So also going to have a trailing stop with this one. So let's put it in again. So this is KRG, 1 week and 2 days long. 19.19 through to 18.17. Again, it's worked out everything else for us. Oh no. There you go, 20.21. Final target again is going to be trailing. Don't know why that's... I think I must not be clicking things properly. I don't know what it is. Okay, let's bring it up and have a look on TradingView. Okay, so KRG. $19.19 was the entry. 18.17 was the stop. Safety target 20.21. Always 1 to 1 away. and then the final target will be trailing. So same as we did before. So again, I don't know why it doesn't like me. Doesn't like me typing things in. 19.19. Okay, there we go. Through to 18.17. $50 risk. Safety target, same, should be 20.21. Brilliant. So that goes in. Second half of the trade, same. Okay, I'm just going to do it one by one. There you go. 19.19. Same stop loss, same risk. No, not ticking break even. Order price is not appropriate for this order type or direction. Yeah, it is. I'm on a buy. Oh no, buy limit. That's why. Okay, there we go. Brilliant. Okay, so let's put a little note in. It's going to put notes in just to make it easy to catch up with it, right? To come back later and see easily what happened and why. 1 week, 2 days was? 2, 3. Much easier to see visually, I think. So that's that. Okay, let's look at the next one. So we just looked at KRG. So that looks like it's actually disappeared from here. So let's have a look at the next one down. 23.96. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Next one down, New Jersey Resources. 44.53, so very, very close to current price. Nothing there. Northern Oil and Gas. 27.06 it was. So we've actually got sellers ahead of us on this time frame, which isn't good. Nope. NOV 17.07. So again, might have this here. It's very close, but that's currently saying 28. But as you can see, it's not yet loaded everything. So wait for it to load. 49.09 is close, but not close enough. So we move on. Nothing there. Unfortunately, we were a percentage off of having a look at the 144, but we have rules for a reason. If we're going to bend them because they're not what we want them to be, then change the rule and say it's got to be 49, right? So if it's rule is 50 and it's not 50, then it's not a trade. Okay, nothing there. PBF Energy, let's have a look. So we want, looks like, yeah, the EMA is at where current price is right now. So we want a UFO that's right there right now. It's not. PNM, 47.41. Okay, so we have one there on the daily. Let's check the 144. 7.41. Okay, so the daily. So this is PNM. Let's bring this back in. So as you'll notice, I'm going through and I'm literally just clicking on different stocks that fit the criteria between the certain price points and volume criteria, probability a certain way. And I'm just going through and I'm checking, does the UFO on the right line up with the EMA on the left? And is that percentage number big enough? That's it. Now, the only reason I might not take a trade that even fits those two is if we had, say, sellers on top of us. We've got room before we hit the sellers, so we're good. It's very mechanical. It's very much like, what do we have in front of us? Does it tick the box? Yes or no? If it does, place the trade. If it doesn't. We're not weighing it up. We're not uncertain. We're not unsure. We're not being subjective. We're not basing it off of what's obvious or what's, I don't know, a gut feeling, or what is on the news, or what somebody said, or what we've researched online, all of which can become subjective, we're doing it on objective data. Is it this or is it that? Now you can have a different set of objective rules. Might need to be, again, a Fibonacci retracement or a specific price point or patterns or whatever it is. You're looking at objective reality, though, to make your decision, which makes it so much easier to track what's working and what's not. If you do it based off of what you believe is right or wrong, based on what you think your intellect might be or your knowledge might be, or what your friends say, or somebody you know did something, unless the somebody you know is insider trading from inside an institution, which obviously there shouldn't be, nobody really knows what's going on in the markets. All we can do is align probabilities in our favor. And if we're aligning probabilities in our favor based on objective reality, statistics, probabilities, technology, we're much more likely to be consistent in our action and therefore to be knowing what's working and what's not, rather than the opposite. That's how we see the markets anyway. So in this case, the entry will be 47.62. The stop loss will be 47.03. And let's work these out. Get that down. Keep doing that. Okay, so we've now got all the numbers we need. Let's bring it back to TradingView and place the trade. So this was P&M. P&M. Around there, I think it was, wasn't it? 47.62 all the way through to 47.03. As we can see very clearly on the left-hand side, the EMA is nicely snugly inside it, so hitting the numbers we want it to hit. Okay, so the safety target was 48.21. 48.21. Oh, one thing we did forget to look at, I say we, me, was here. So 49.55, that's going to be the final target. Brilliant. Let's come back. 49.55 it was. Was it? Yes. Brilliant. I wrote on my spreadsheet 49.22, so let's add that up. Okay, brilliant. So now we've got our entry, our stop, our targets. Let's place the trade. Again, I don't know what I'm doing here. That's wrong. Sometimes it's working for me, sometimes it isn't. I must be clicking something wrong. Must be. But anyway. Stop loss 43.03. Risk, again, whatever you want it to be. In my case, $50 as an example. And 48.41. Nice. That first half goes in. Second half. Brilliant. Same entry, same stop, same risk. And in this case, our profit target, we type over and put 49.55. Brilliant. And again, we'll put a little note. So, placed on the 5th of August, 2022. It was 1 week and, what was it, 1 day, I think? Let's check the spreadsheet. 1 day, yeah. Nothing else to know because the targets were where we would normally put them. So just to show you then, we've now got, let's make this bigger. We've now got a handful of trades on. The reason those values aren't adding up is because we don't actually have a final target. We've got trailing. Otherwise, we've got all of the details in. We've placed 4 trades so far. Now, this is the master version, but if you go through to tradewithufos.com/Becky and you just refresh. So let's let that refresh. Sometimes it takes a minute. It's my internet. Okay, nice. If you scroll down, you'll see all 4 of them there. So you can now track them, come in and check in on them, see what's happening. Again, read the notes, look at the images here. So for example, if I click that, if Opens up the image so you can see what it looked like. Again, helpful to be able to have that image, I think, so you can see how it's going. So you can track all of these. You can edit this yourself and download it if you want. So for example, you could say, oh, I placed those plus another few, whatever, right? But as you'll see, when you do that, it will say any changes made to this published spreadsheet will not be saved to the original file, which is obviously good because it means that we don't have people sort of making up different numbers and things. But you can use that, edit it, and then download it for yourself. Okay, so let's keep looking. We've got a few minutes left, so let's have a look at more opportunities. So we just looked at P&M, South Jersey Industries. This is quite far from the EMA, I think, but let's see. 34.15. Nothing. Silgan. 42.19. Okay, so we're within a UFO right now, so we'll place that. I think the daily looks better there. Let's wait for this to load. It's saying 25, so let's wait for it to load. We might end up going in at market, which is not a very common thing, but if it works out that way, it works out that way. 55, so we could use this one. We'd end up putting them all together anyway. Where are the sellers? We don't have any. So 55 on the 144 minute. On the daily, it's 64.95, so that's winning so far. On the 2-day, it didn't line up, and on the 3-day, it was 62. So the daily wins, and we're going to take this whole area. So let's bring this in. SLGN. One week, 1 day, long. 42, well, current price is 42.34, so we'll go in at market wherever that ends up being. We might as well buy it cheaper than what the UFO is, right? So we'll go to, it will be 39.96, and that's figured that out for us. Our final target will be trailing in this case because we didn't have any sellers there. So let's take a look. Let's go to Trading View, and this is SLGN. There we go. Told you my internet a little bit weird sometimes. So we're going in, like we said, pretty much at current price, which is 42.34 at the moment. Stop loss was 39.96. Our safety target was 44.72. Lovely. Okay, let's put this in quick whilst we're here. So at market, stop loss is 39.96. Risk of 50. 239, 44. Oh, that's because it at market must be moving. Brilliant. So let's just change that safety target to 44.74. That must have been factoring in the spread going in at market, and looks like we got in at 42.36. So that's what we got in at, 42.36. Stop loss at 39.96. So it actually looks like our safety target should be now, by the time it got in, our safety target should be, we modify this, 44.76. Lovely. Now the second half is easier. We're going to go in at market, same stop loss, same risk, and we're obviously not going to work that out. So we went in on the second half there. It looks like it's cancelled one trade to put in the other. Sometimes it does this on Trading View on the paper trading one, but we would have both halves of those trades in. So placed 5th August, 1 week, 1 day, and it was T2 trailing at market. Okay, there we go. So we've now placed 5 trades. So let's see if we can get to the end of this list. I'm sure there was only a couple left, one left. And then we'll see if we can look for probability down, see if there's anything there. 25.73 on a daily chart, not looking good because we've got sellers there instead of buyers. 5.73. Nope, not close enough. Okay, so nothing left to do in terms of longs. Let's now have a look. Everything's exactly the same. We're excluding earnings from the next 10 days. Got our price limits the same. Again, you can move those around. And I'm going to come to auto climate and I want confirmed down. Click scan. So we've only got 5 individual stocks that fit this criteria that have probability down at the moment. Let's have a look. 22.94. Nothing there. PG, Procter & Gamble. 143.72. So nothing there. Or there. Or there. Might get through all of them. SSNC. 60.90. Okay, so we do. No, I was going to say we do have an opportunity here. However, that number isn't very good, but it's not quite loaded yet. So once it's loaded, we'll understand what that number is. Okay, so we have a UFO that lined up. This UFO contains the EMA price, but this number up here, the probability rating is less than 50%. So no trade. Upwork, 20.78, so pretty much exactly where price is now. Okay, nothing there. So then last but not least, Urban Outfitters, 20.66. Let's take a look. Nothing there. Okay, so we've now looked at, when it comes to a daily time frame, stocks that have probability upwards, and we've placed 5-6 trades. Let's have a look. Bring them in here. 5 trades. We've placed 5 trades with probability up. We've looked at probability down. There were only 5 that we could have even looked at. When we looked at longs, we had a longer list, right? 20 odd, I think. Whereas when it came to probability down, there were only 5 to look at. And none of those actually hit the rest of our criteria. So we don't place trades on those. So overall then, we are in a situation where we have 5 long trades. Looks like the market overall is unconfirmed, but may confirm itself to the upside sooner anyway, because more stocks within it have probability up, but we'll see. Let's just have a quick look then at these 2 that we placed last time that may have been open at the time when I was checking. AM. But let's have a look. On TradingView, AM. AM. Okay, so let's update this here so we can see in sort of live, see it now, why we mark certain things the way we do. So this was placed on the 8th of July, which means it obviously triggered on this one. Still would have triggered because the EMA was still lining up, so we still would have got into the trade. Went a little bit in our favor, back against us. It wasn't until, by the looks of it, the 1st of August, which was this Monday, that we saw that the auto climate changed. We now have a reason to get out of the trade. So no, we haven't hit our stop loss yet. And you could say, well, it's on its way back out again. But we no longer have probabilities on our side. So why would we stay on the trade? So that means that we would have got out on that day. So let me show you exactly how we would fill this in, or how I would fill this in. So AM, it filled on the 19th of July. Let's bring that up. Filled on July 19th. Got to do it the American way. Okay, so the outcome is a small loss as opposed to a loss because we got out sooner. So we didn't take the full risk or take the full loss. We got out on the 1st of August when the weekly auto climate changed. So similar to the rest of the markets that we've looked at. Profit or loss per share, let's work this out. So on the 1st of August, the opening price, as we can see up here, was $9.95. So the opening price on that day, $9.95, assuming you're checking it every day, which means we took a 27-cent loss per share, minus 0.27 cents. That means as a reward to risk outcome, we were risking 72 cents, but we lost 0.27. So it's minus 0.38. Let's round that down. So we didn't lose the full one, we lost 0.38 out of the one. In terms of snapshot, I'll do that a bit later. It's probably boring for you to watch me do that bit. And in terms of notes, trade triggered when AC and EMA still lining up. On 1st August, AC changed, AC being AutoClimate, to unconfirmed. Trade closed at 9.95, 0.27, it's in dollars, I guess. 0.27 higher than entry. There we go. So now that has a little bit of context. Now we understand that. Let's have a look at this last one, fill it in together. Since we've got no new opportunities to look at, let's delete those. Oh no, I'm going to take a snapshot of them later, so I won't delete those. AVT, this one just looks like a all out and out stop out, placed on the 8th. Yeah, it's unfortunate, this one, although, oh no, let's have a look. We might be lucky here. So we're going to use the replay to show you then what would have happened. Okay, so on that day, which would have been 20th of July. So the 20th of July, as it opened, let's have a look there. Opening price was 44.21. So same thing here. That was the day it went unconfirmed. That's what I've just used the replay to find out. So 44.21 when we got in at 43.89. So it was a 32-cent loss. So same thing here. Looks like we had a similar situation in a lot of our trades. 11th of July, let's look. Where the auto climate changed, but we still were able to get out at a smaller loss than taking the full loss because the auto climate changed. Unfortunately, that resulted in a lot of small losses, but I'd much rather take a small loss than a big one. So this was the 20th, July 20th, 2022. Profit or loss per share was 32 cents. So 32 cents when we were risking 2.20. So let's round it down to 15, so minus 0.15. I'll put the snapshot in later, and same situation. So trade triggered. Oh, maybe. Hold on, let me just check something. So perhaps we might have cancelled this trade actually. Before it would have even been a loss or a win. Let's have a look. So on the day that it triggered, which was the 11th. Okay, so on the day that it triggered, which was the 11th, the EMA was not lining up. So if we checked in on that day, we would have seen that the EMA was not lining up and we would have cancelled the trade. So actually, none of this is true. It was a cancelled trade. So again, this is assuming that you guys are, in terms of dates, it's cancelled. Okay, this is assuming that you guys are checking in every day, right? You might not. If you left it, then it would have been exactly what I just explained it to be. It would have been a small loss if you checked in on the day that the auto climate changed, or if you might have alerts maybe to check that. Or if you'd have just left it and not come back until now, would have been a full stop out. If we're checking in on our trades regularly, which we should be, then if we checked in on that day, the 11th of July, we would say, before the trade triggered, EMA is no longer lining up with the UFO. I'm going to cancel this trade. That way, we would never have lost anything, wouldn't have won anything, wouldn't have even been in the trade in the first place. So that's what protects us from losses, by checking in every day. So that one would have actually been cancelled. Again, I'll take a snapshot of that and explain it. In fact, let's just explain it here. So EMA no longer lined up with UFO before entry, 11th of July, cancelled before entry. So that would have been how that trade would have panned out. Now, I log it as if we've checked it every day. If you check it every 3 days or every week or every month, you're all going to have different results on that. Because if you're checking every day to see what the autoclimate is doing, then you're going to be able to act sooner than somebody that's checking every week to see what the autoclimate is doing. They're going to act slower. And therefore, one of you might act quicker and get out sooner and lose less. The other one might act slower, get out further down and lose more, or vice versa, right? It could be that the autoclimate changes, you get out, and then actually it moved down a little bit and you could have got out then, or vice versa. But let's be consistent on it. We are logging everything as if you are checking it every single day and you are acting on the information that comes on a daily basis. And it would take, even if you've got 10 trades on, it would take 5-10 minutes to just quickly check them all, see what's going on. Does anything need to be done? More often than not, the answer to that will be no, nothing needs to be done. But if it does need to be done, you can say, oh, brilliant, quick, cancel that trade. Or, oh, great, I just need to close this one out for a profit or a loss or break even. So hopefully that makes sense. I will add snapshots to this a little bit later. If you have any questions, best place to go is tradewithufos.com/Becky. At the bottom is where you've got a question and answer section, which will help. Or you can email me, becky@tradewithufos.com. So today being Friday, I wish you guys a great end to your trading week and a great weekend ahead. And I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.